you all exist in a most important time in the evolution, repentance in history. The great rounds, as they are called, turn forever, offering change, offering opportunities. And there are moments, shall we say, when the round has finished, the spiraling new moment occurs. And that has happened, shall we say, over the last 10 years of your time. But it is in 12-year cycles where the moment arises. And shall we say, in the last 2 years of this transformative period of time, many things begin to break down, to shift and become chaotic. It sounds as if it is a difficult time, yet it is the most, shall we say, the time of the most important opportunities. So it is in the next few years, the next 2 years, that one can seriously decide what is your greatest purpose. What is it that you have come to do? And how you can move forward in the transformation that is due and bound to occur. So I encourage each one of you to take some time to consider, to put in your requests and to put your focus in this moments of chaos, because that is where precipitation of reality is easiest to occur. Many opportunities, many things are available in the mix, as it were.
Could you tell us more about the 12-year cycles and the 2 years to come?
Shall we say, over the great time frame of history, there is what is called the cycles and the great rounds. The great rounds are thousands of years in their operation. And inside of that there are the changing cycles, and inside of that the various cycles as they occur. So it is at the end of a period, shall we say, in this case, what you call the age of Aquarius, began its endings 24 years before it came into its own, to the critical time. So shall we say, the critical moment is the year of 2000. In this particular case, an extraordinary alignment. And you are 12 years into the cycle, if you like, when the first 12 years is the ending of what is left over, if you like. Shall I put it? 24 years ends the cycle, the first 12 years clears out the residuals. So you are starting to see the residual poisons, shall we say, of the old age beginning to be eliminated. Do you understand? So nothing likes to give up its power, and so then it begins, shall we call it, the breaking down of the old system. And because it breaks down in this way, the new is emerging at the same time. I have said there are two universes, one emerging and one completing. So it is that if you choose to be in the emerging cycle, then at the end of its period, that is the lasting of 2 years, there is so much, if you like, disruption, that there are what would be called gaping gaps, opportunities for those with foresight. And you will find the foresight inside of yourself, because all gifted, all the humans are gifted with, shall we call it, a connection to the divine creator from which everything emerges. So you can find it within, in the silence that you are looking for. Often people want to create something out of something. But if you create something and you allow it, the space will be there. It is within nothing, shall we say, that something can emerge, something can fill the gap. You understand? So every 12 years, you are returned to that moment. So, shall we say, in this final period, because following that is the next 12 years where the new impetus, the new age begins to take form. The old has been, shall we say, eliminated. The old power systems have broken down, and now you are building a new civilization. It has the opportunity and the vision to become enlightened. Enlightened in the sense that it has a direction to clarify itself, to find its purpose, and to bring to the highest degree the very nature of the physical being, that is the spiritual being incarnated into material form. Does this make sense?
The 12-year cycle, when does that begin? Is that different for everybody? Or?
Everyone has their own cycle, but there is, shall we say, the great cycle of spirit, that is where everyone agreed. The round, shall we say, is complete, and so the new emerging starts in its own way. So, as I point out, from the year 2000, when the age of Aquarius, if you like, began, because obviously such ages are not instantaneous, in one sense. In another sense, they are exact. So we say there is an exact moment in the year of 2000 when this began. And so the 12-year cycle that is occurring is, shall we call it, a global phenomenon. And so everyone is in their own universe, their own cycle, but they are also in the great cycle itself. So, shall we say, everyone has their own pace, their own approach, their own challenges, and shall we say, whatever it is for every individual, the opportunities are vast in this ending cycle and the new beginning. You understand, if you collect all the pieces that you need to build, shall we say, a new house, then you wait for the moment which is the best moment to begin to build. You have everything you need. Do you follow what I mean? So, shall we say, as you move into the year of 2022, you understand, every time there are parallels, if you like, every time there are dualities and polarities together, then the two sides have to come into balance. And that is when you begin. Does this follow? So, shall we say, collect your opportunities, collect what you need, be clear what you are building, and it will be different for everyone. Ask yourself, if I were to be of use in an enlightened planetary civilization, what would I love to do? What would be my purpose? And collect what you need, because it is coming. There is no, shall we say, avoidance. You cannot avoid. So it will come to you anyway. But will you pick it up? Will you collect the gifts as they turn up? Will you connect with those who are part of the team, your group? Does this follow? Because you are all in preparation for the great emergence, the great building. Because I want to say, as I have said, there is a new species that have arisen. They are come into your world, and it is the final job to prepare the framework, if you like, for the new civilization, for the new species. Does this follow? Does that answer the question?
Can you talk about different ways that we could prepare that would be beneficial?
Always. You think you are separate. Do you understand? The great paradox of life is you think you are separate, but you are connected in every way. There is only one unit, one oneness, if you like. So when you begin to see it, when you walk down the streets and you see this is all myself, you are walking inside your spiritual umbrella. You look at it with awe. You see the flowers and you are awestruck. They are my creation. They are an aspect of myself. And you see the person who is in pain, and you see they also are an aspect of myself. You look at the rubbish and junk, and you are also an aspect of myself. I am tidying up my inner self. So I begin to see more and more of the joy, more and more of the beauty. Not that you are saying this is beautiful, this is ugly, but you are seeing everything as it is. And you are seeing that you are also beautiful. You look at your world with the awe, and you look at yourself with the awe. You begin to see what an amazing unit you are within the wholeness, and that you are there to, shall we say, live the joy of that. Does that make sense? You understand? So you are beginning to turn yourself into something that you can be inspired by, that you can love. You can see that you are love incarnated, and you will find love is drawn to you in every way. And the more that you realize this, the more that you draw it towards you, and the more you draw it towards you, the more inspiring you become, because you are sharing your love. Love for self is a field that goes so far beyond you that anyone moving into it is moved. Does this make some sort of sense? So when you are walking along the street, living the awe, then anyone, any of those in pain that walk through it will be, shall we say, altered in some fashion. You will take from them some of the pain and transform it. That is the way of enlightening. I want to say, let us change that a little bit to saying it is lightening up the environment. You are the light of the environment, not the spotlight, but the enlightening, the lifting of suffering. And in doing so, you are transformed. Because you are lifting off, you are transformed. because whatever you give will come back to you multiplied. The more you can love, the more love you will discover for yourself. Transformation. And that is what is needed and what is available in the next 2 years of this part of incarnation. It's an agreement of the many. Shall we say even what seems to be the darkness, then the light will shine evermore.
Thanks for watching. We hope this content resonates and with your help raises planetary awareness. Get free access to the best Mercredan content and opportunities to ask your own questions to Mercredan by subscribing. Visit channelingmercredan.com/subscribe or click the link in the description.